All right, I think we're recording. I'll sit down here. This is me, and this is a little cabin that I'm making for the homeless. The last time I done this was 10 years ago. But I don't have pictures of that model. I've actually remaking it, and this is going to be more of a advanced design, and it's easier to do a visual than it is to draw it on paper. Oh, I think it's falling apart on me. Hang on, my tape's drying up. You just have to make sure the back panel's in. So this is the darn it. I need to tape this up better. Trying to lift this out of the cradle. Okay. One more time. Can you see that? That's the cradle there. That goes in. And so the cabin would be tied to the cradle. The cradle is designed to hold the cabin, but also it's designed, and this is an important feature. I'm just going to stand up here, move this around a little more. So one of the important features of this hex cradle is that you have little storages on the inside. And say, for example, you do your cooking on this side, you got a place for your propane bottle. You can collect the water off your roof. You might have water storage over here, and so the other side you might have gray water, or you could have gray water, water storage and gray water here, and propane and a battery on the other side. And I haven't put a front on yet. This slips in here. So this actually folds out like that. So when I'm actually making this, I'll just make the shell, and this here would be something that you would add too, because you might want to use this little cabin for storage or other purposes. And so that's how the floor is designed here. You come across from point to point, and that gives you about 16 inches up here to your bench. This is the smallest model. And so from point, the very bottom to the top is 8 feet, and about 7 feet on the outside. Time you minus your 2x6 framing here, it'd be about 6 feet. I like to make it a little bigger than 6 feet on the inside. So your sides all the way around, take 6 sheets of 5/8 fir plywood, or 5/8 OSB. You want a little thicker than 1/2 inch, and your framing is I can show you here. I don't know if you can see it or not. You can see the lines here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexagonal frames, and then you'd actually make a bulkhead that would go here and here. So you'd actually need 7 and 8. And I have this is your skylight. I got a skylight on the other side. So I just put that on just so people could see. And over here, I want to make probably a hexagonal solar panel for power. And over here, a hexagonal solar power for hot water. So this is a fully contained unit. It goes on a transport truck. I may have to make the cradle a little smaller, because I want the edge of the platform here of the cradle to be the same edge, no wider than the width of the cabin. So on the inside, and I got a window in the back here. See if you can see this little window there. I'm going to move the window up because it's in the way of the bed. It's going to be a Murphy bed inside. So this would be a Murphy bed. I still have to doctor it up. So the Murphy bed would fold up like this. And I'll probably raise it upwards around there. Around. I need to add another. Make the bed probably about 32 inches high when it folds down. So underneath here you would have under storage. And so when you're not using the bed, you just fold it out of the way. And the top should come just below the window. So the top of the bed is makes up for the ledger of the window. And so I have to do that. So on the inside here, now once this is all raised up, then I'll know the height of my counter. I'm going to try to keep the counter about 32 inches. I just copy off the kitchen cabinets here and try to match that for height. So when you're standing here, you'd actually have a full counter on one side with a sink and with a stove. Probably have the stove here and the sink over here. And they'd be built in, where you take the lid off, and that's where your stove and all that would be. So underneath the stove, I actually want to use the Joe Pipe technology for the stove. So the stove would be about the size of a laptop, about inch thick. It would be insulated on one side, and so your Joe Pipe itself would be about the size of a cigar, and you could easily get that hot enough where you could cook on it. And for heating, you just have a slab of soapstone on top of your stove, and that'd be your heat source without any all your venting would go up through a chimney, or you could use a rocket stove. On this other side, I probably have a cabinet. I don't know if to put the cabinet where the bed's going to go. I might do that because I put the cabinet there, or I put the cabinet right in the front here. But if I put the cabinet here, then it's for like a closed cabinet, it's going to take away. Well, I guess I don't need no window on this side. I could have one window on this side, like a little portal here. This would be a standard door, and on one side, I want a doggy door. Okay, I'll probably put the doggy door in the main door, and so this would be a kitchen cabinet, cooking, and all that. And the other side would be a place to hang your clothes and shelving, and you need a place to sit down, like when you're putting on your shoes in the morning. And I'm not sure where to do that, but maybe in the front here, you could have a board that flips up, and you'd also have under storage, right in here. And on your kitchen side, you'd have a little slider here, little slider window. And my time is okay. And I think as another accessory, right in the front here, when you open your door, I'm going to have a set of stairs that actually come out and they hook on here. And I like to make a deck here, if possible. I have to see yet, but at least you have your stairs that come out. And if you do put a deck here that attaches to here, then you can actually just drop your stairs on. So you have a little, like a 4 foot. Be nice to have a 4 foot, 4x8 deck here with a little balcony. And it kind of dresses up a little bit. It gives you space for wood storage. And you could actually make a roof extension that comes out so to have your own covered porch. And you could, so all these extras, you can make it so it actually goes inside. Like the deck, you can make the deck so the deck slides on the bottom here. I still have room under here. I'm not sure what to do under here yet. And It's kind of a neat little storage. It's not going to be as big, once you do the framing, but it'll still be a little area for something, maybe in-floor heating. In the top here, I like to cover the point and probably have some lights made into the bottom with some fans, so it could actually have it vented out in either end. So when you don't want to open up your skylights, you can just turn on your fans, okay? And underneath here, I'm not sure. Probably have access here where this will fold down like this, and you can actually have all your wiring and your plumbing inside here, so it's all hidden away. And for a little shelter system like this, I think it's going to work. I think it's much more efficient than your 8x12s that they're making in Seattle. You have your width here, so this would be 7 feet wide, 8 feet, 7 feet wide, 8 feet long, and so you could actually put this on a transport truck the way it is, and you should be able to get 7 of these on a transport truck. And when you want to offload, you just you can design it so you can actually take a forklift and go on the front and lift it off, put her on the ground, and you would have some jacks, one jack in each corner. When you drop it down, you can put a little wagon on, then you can carry this away and put it where you need it. And the same way, that way a truck can offload all these little guys here, and then you just take your time to place them. But it's very compact. And this would be good for 1 or 2 people. It's more of a sleeping area, but if you want a place to sit and write, or when you're on the streets, this is it's like Penthouse. This is like being uptown, and that's what it's about. And making it fully functional little house design, and trying to do it for $1,000 in material. And the outside would need a framework, I think. And so underneath here, you would actually have it would be a 7 by 8 foot bed rail, like they have on a bed. And you want to make it so you can actually slip a jack in. You put your jack in here, and your jack in here, and it go into like a metal housing, one here and one there. And that way you could raise this off the ground, right? So you can get put your wagon underneath, you raise your jacks up, and you park it, you drop your jacks down, and you take your wagon out. I don't think there's anything like this anywhere in the world yet. I don't really have a name for it. It's I just call this Arks for the Homeless. It demonstrates the love of God, and that's what God's going to ask. He's going to ask us one question when we stand before Him. Everyone's going to stand before the Lord. He's going to ask you, have you learned to love? Have you learned to love with your time on the earth, right? And so if we say we love God and we don't love our neighbor, if there's no demonstration of our love for our neighbor, then our hearts are really, really cold. And that's what's happened in the churches. The churches have become cold, and there's just not the cohesion. There's not the love one for another. And that's one thing that everyone understands. It doesn't matter what denomination you go to. It doesn't matter whether you're a believer or an unbeliever, a dog or a cat. Everyone understands love. And it's love, the love of God, that's going to set creation free. This is the next move of God. It's going to, because the golden oil that God's going to pour out of the hearts of His people, it's going to be the golden oil of love. And that's what's going to set creation free and bring, God's going to bring in the lost, the harvest of souls. Okay, this is Arks for the Homeless. I just call this the Joshua Project. And this is Josh coming to you from Nanaimo, British Columbia, Vancouver Island, Canada.